So this is a traditional window cleaning initial clean that I'm carrying out. It's on a commercial venue. It's a wedding venue, purpose-built wedding venue, built within the last year, just finished. And I always try to look at the Met Office, and if the weather's looking dodgy, I will try my hardest to shoehorn in a job like this on horrible days so I can get in and do it. Initial cleans, they're quite painstaking. You have to be very methodical. There's a lot of scraping, and you're constantly applicating squeegee, reapplicating squeegee. It's very methodical, but the end result is fantastic because it's a real wow factor. You know, you're doing in and out, and it's what an improvement. Now, the pricing structure with initial cleans, I always put initial cleans on an hourly rate. It's impossible to look at a job and say, right, if it's an initial clean, it's going to take that long, because you just never know how long it's going to take. So initial cleans, always put on an hourly rate. So anyway, what follows will be a few snippets and clips of me carrying out this initial clean. So the initial clean obviously is done traditional. So everything's applicated up, scraped, applicated up, squeegeed, applicated up, squeegeed. It's quite a painstaking, methodical way that you have to go about when you're doing initial cleans. But the results are fantastic. I love doing jobs like this because it's an instant result, inside and out. I mean, yeah, when it eases off a bit, I'll be out there doing the outside. But they're just fantastic. They add value. It's an instant result, real wow factor. Yeah, love jobs like this. So anyway, so applicate up. So a really good applicate, a really good, nice thick mix of Fairy in my bucket, the big oblong green Unger bucket. I normally do 8 squirts to a full bucket of hot water. That's the ratio I use. So plenty of soap and detergent on here. And basically you've just got a year's worth of building rubbish on here. So there's plaster, there's pug, you've got insect poo, you've got your labels that the manufacturers of the units leave on here, and sometimes there's not on this one, but there's little adhesive pads that protect the glazing when they're stored in transition from the factory to the job. So yeah, there's plenty on here to keep you busy, but as I said, the results are just fantastic. I love doing jobs like this, really do love it. Now my scraper, and I always do, when I'm scraping, as I've mentioned before, I always do a patch test. I carry out what I call a patch test on the glazing, because you never quite know how the glazing is going to take to the scraper. So yeah, I always carry out a patch test to see how the glazing is going to react to the use of a scraper, particularly when you're getting off pug. Plaster's not so bad, it's a different consistency, but pug is a different ballgame because you've got the sand in the pug cement. So when I'm scraping pug off of a window, I will only go one way, and I will constantly, on my trousers or on a scrim, clean off any sand or debris that's built up on the scraper so it doesn't get rubbed and dragged across the glazing again and leaves gouges and scratches. So a patch test, I would just literally, like that, applicate squeegee and see what sort of, if it's done anything to the, which 99.9% of the time it won't. But anyway, so I've done that, and this glazing's fine. So let's get off. And the adhesive is always underneath, you know, you take the adhesive off. There we go. And I always wipe it on a scrim or on my trousers to get all the debris off, so you don't put it back onto the glass when you use the scraper again. So here we go. Another fantastic liberal coating of detergent and hot soapy water. A little bit of plaster there. Plaster generally you can get off with the end of the applicator sleeve. It's not too bad plaster, but pug, yeah, pug can be quite nasty. There we go. Now we don't have to be too finicky with the catching the suds on the applicator because it's a stone floor, screeded floor. I'm using here 6 foot pointed ladders with the white rubber bung on them. They're fantastic, you know, using points on inside jobs and big or jumbo points if it was a bit higher. But yeah, I'm on my 6 foot points and I just tuck my applicator just on top on one of the rungs of the points. So as you can see, that's come up, looks pretty good to me. And as I said, you always allow plenty of time on jobs like this so that you can do the job properly. And like I said, it's a methodical type of job. You can't come in and just bang this out and think, yep, that's going to work. It's you've got to be methodical because in a minute the sun will be out and any mess ups you've made will be glaringly obvious, you know. So there we go. We've done another applicator on it. Boom, 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 boom. It's in one. So again, I've got about 50 million screws in it. Always prepared on an initial clean, but I've one in my pocket for the frames, one in my pocket for the windows. The outlook here is fantastic. Just the rolling countryside and the hills, bloody lovely. Cracking place for a wedding venue, you know. And what they do is they camp in the field out here, so they come in here, get plastered, stagger out there and into a tent or a camper van. So yeah, lovely setup. And now what I do with initial cleans, I've stepped down off the points now. The points are here to my right. I've come down off the points and I do it in sections. I do this in 3 sections. The top section off the points, I'll do this section here and then I'll be down, boom, on my knee pads. Previously mentioned my knee pads, love my knee pads. When you're old and infirm like me, knee pads are a lifesaver. So yeah, so I'm gonna do, I've actually cheated, I've done this bit before, I'll do it again. So this middle section now, I'll do. So here I am down here on the ground now, on my knee pads. And you normally find the bottoms are a little bit grubbier than the tops because at the tops you get all the insect poo and maybe the odd label. And at the bottoms is where they've screeded the floor, you'll get splashbacks of screed and pug and plaster and things like that. So it's quite weird, yeah, the top insect poo labels, middle normally not a great deal, and then the bottoms all the splashbacks of the plaster and the pug and rubbish from screed in the floors. Good applicate up against the edges, because this is, as I said, this is not a maintenance, this is an initial clean. So a little bit firmer, a little bit more aggressive with your applicator. Boom, cutting in here. Oh, a line there. Done. Wipe round, sorted. So here I am on another pane now, and you can see the outlook a little bit better from this angle. Yeah, it is lovely. If I got married again for a 4th time, I wouldn't mind coming here. Don't tell my wife that. So get in there, in the corners with your applicator, with an initial clean. So much more thorough than a maintenance clean. It's funny, there was a French guy thought he was being funny the other day on one of my videos, and he's highlighted what he thought was a mark I'd left on the glazing. It was a shadow. And he actually made the comment in French, and I used the translator and worked out what he meant. And I wish I'd have replied in French actually to his attack on me. But I didn't think, I deleted it, and I was really gutted. I wanted to reply to him in French. So if you're watching this, you French nugget, it was a shadow, all right. Not that I've got anything against the French, it's just this one guy. I don't mind people trying to be smart if it's justified. If, you know, you leave a mark, it's like, oh man, rookie, yeah. But when, you know, they're just trying to find fault and there ain't one, dash your head in that. Should have worn me out. My barnet looks terrible, doesn't it? That's what happens in the winter, isn't it? Wind, rain, and wearing hats, hat on, hat off. You look like a bomb's hit you after 10 minutes. So it's the middle section. And as you can see, I've never worn a bucket belt. I just tuck my squeegee in the belt of my pouch. Here, I've always found that's fine, leaving it in there. I find the bucket belt, you know, there's too much going on there, a bit emotional, you know, you're carrying around like a container full of dirty water. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I mean, it wrecks your van, you get in your van, it comes there, So I've never used a bucket belt. As I said, millions of you out there think they're fantastic and fair play to you, but I've never got on with them. So, here's the middle section. Good applique up. It's starting to look really nice now. I'm not sure what that is. Bit of plaster, I think. You can see what I mean with an initial clean. You're constantly spot cleaning, going back again, looking different angle, going back again, looking different angle. Because, like I said, you've got a year's worth of rubbish on the windows. So you are not going to get it all off in one sweep. So you're here for a few hours and you're constantly looking from different angles, and you're always going to see stuff. The best bit is when you finish, the sun comes out and you're like, got to go back in, you know. But that's the thing. That's the thing about being methodical. You know, you'll get everything off, and it'll be worth it in the end. But that's why, you know, with an initial clean, you allow the time to be able to do the job properly. Fantastic, I'm happy with that. And I don't know if you can see from here, but whenever the 6 foot points are a really useful tool. I keep on about it, but they are. And then obviously the jumbo points, which is like they're about 18 foot, 3 times the size of these. But these are fantastic, and you can't actually see from the angle here, but you've got your hands free because you learn to balance your knees. You wedge your knees in between the rungs, and you can get in different positions, and your hands are always free. So really useful bit of kit points. And see, if you weren't doing an initial clean and you had to, you know, watch what you were doing, it was an internal job and it was carpet and upholstery, then, you know, where you're balancing on your points with your hands free, you can adopt my technique whereby I cut in squeegee and I put my applicator underneath my squeegee blade, and it all drips onto the applicator and not onto the floor. You notice how it's quieting down now because the rain's eased off. It's literally, I mean, my God, it's still heavy rain out there, but that was like monsoon condition earlier. And that is another fantastic job from a fantastic bloke.